What's up, Kmart? My name's Evan, and on January 14th of 2013, I made the worst mistake of my life and bought this from one of your stores. In early January 2014, it started making this noise. Now, just like you're busy training your customer service reps all the creative ways they can say no to your paying customers, I'm busy too with the job. It's the same job I worked hard at and saved so I could spend the $500 at your store buying the Xbox. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. I purchased the item from your store in Bloomington, Indiana. The total drive from my house to that store is roughly an hour and a half or 3 hours round trip, usually a little more. Because I am self-employed and I don't get a lot of days off, I kind of value my free time. So I thought I would call the store, the same one you sold me the broken Xbox from, just to confirm that I could come down and exchange the system with no trouble. The rep said no problem. To be fair, the rep I spoke to was quite a bit younger than me, and I'm not up on all the hot slang and YOLOing the kids do these days. That said, to us old farts, no problem means just that, no problem. To you guys, or at least your reps, no problem apparently means gigantic issue that has taken 12 hours of my time and makes me feel like the Big Red K is cornholing me with a belt sander. After I made the hour-and-a-half drive from Indianapolis to Bloomington, your incredibly unhelpful customer service rep told me that I could not make the exchange. Then, when I spoke to your manager, he said the same thing. I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about Jerry. I don't want to stir anything up, of course, or hurt any feelings, but you know how you sometimes look at somebody and go, wow, that guy looks like a prick, and he also looks like Napoleon Dynamite's brother Kip? That's Jerry. Listen for a moment, Kmart. I don't expect a lot from your employees, and I mean that not in a condescending way, but in a you hire idiots way. I would like to show all of you who can't read what your return policy says. Our goal is that you are completely satisfied with your purchase. Opened music, movies, computer software, video games, and collectibles, if defective, may be exchanged for an identical item. Jerry also had some trouble answering my questions once he decided he was done helping me. Instead of, say, helping me out like he's paid $25,000 to $35,000 a year to do, he decided to start sarcastically answering everything I said with company policy. So first I asked him why again I couldn't return my Xbox or exchange it. He said company policy. I said, okay, well is there another manager I can speak to who's above you? And he said company policy. I then asked him to read the return board up above the desk saying that I could return my Xbox, and what do you know? He said company policy. So Jerry and I had a few words, and I thought to myself, you don't have to be condescended to by a Kmart lifer who looks like the dictionary entry for a pedophile, and that's when I decided to go to your social media people for help. I'm quickly learning, though, that I would probably get better results from sticking my dick in a rat trap, or a light socket, or a meat grinder, or whatever. You know, actually, I take that back. Raquel, the customer service manager assigned to me once I complained enough on your Facebook page, did offer me a resolution. He wants me to drive the hour and a half back to Bloomington again, speak to Jerry again, and do the exchange. And I think that's unfair for a lot of reasons. I obviously don't want to make the 3-hour round trip to Bloomington whenever I already did it once on bad intel from one of your employees. I don't want to go and talk face to face with a manager who is a giant prick to me and I got in a big confrontation with. And there are plenty of stores up here in Indy that have Xbox Ones and can do the exchange. Raquel's take on the matter is different. He's being a little indignant, frankly, which I think is silly since I'm just kind of asking him to do the thing he's paid to do at his job. I was so happy to let you know about the return. I apologize for the inconvenience, but that's the only store you can return it to because that's the only store with an Xbox One out of all the Kmarts. That's the only one they can afford. I had to do a lot of convincing. Mr. Jerry was nice enough to process the return himself. That's a bunch of bullshit. When a dude like me rolls in with $500 and buys a product, he just wants the product to work. When it doesn't work, he just wants to be able to exchange it. I'm not a psychic, but I'm guessing that this isn't going to get resolved to my satisfaction. That's okay though, because when I do look into my crystal ball, I can also see a bunch of retailers who don't suck donkey dick eating you alive and taking you out of business in the next few years. While you're waiting on that, why don't you hire some reps who don't suck and work on returning products for people who you steal from? So Kmart and manager whose name I forget but looks a lot like a pedophile but might not be one, and everybody else involved with this process, blow me. You're terrible and I can't wait to stop thinking about you just like the rest of the American public did in the mid-90s. Fuck yourselves.